kill first person pretty much. There's not much chance you'll be using a lot of first person in college writing. Okay, that's I, me, us, we. Okay, another thing that's not allowed in academic writing is you, and I really think you is harder to kill than first person. And the problem with that is it gets too personal. Like if Gavin writes a paper, if you smoke a ton of pot, pretty soon you're out looking for heroin, and pretty soon your kids are in foster care. What's wrong with him saying that on a paper?
You think it's too?
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, step back, Gavin. You know, I'm. So it gets a little personal and accusatory. So we don't use it. It's just not formal. And there's other things like you don't use contractions in formal writing, but we'll go over those things before you turn this in.
What contractions do you have?
Well, I would know with 5 kids, yes, that's one kind of contraction. Hopefully nobody will be using those kinds of contractions during class. Although I feel qualified, at this point to serve as a emergency midwife, I suppose, but let's not do that. Contractions like can't, don't, won't, you spell it out as 2 words, and don't have any of the other kind of contractions. When you go to kindergarten, what's the first unit of language you learn? What's the first thing, one of the first things you learn about reading, writing? What do you got to start with?
The alphabet?
Sure, your ABCs. So letters are the smallest unit of our language. What's the next biggest unit that comes?
Words.
Okay, yeah, then you start learning words. You put those letters together and get words. What's the next one up? Sentences. What's a sentence?
I love life.
Okay, that's an example.
A string of words that make sense.
A string of words that makes sense. Okay, that's part of it. They express an idea. They go together. Has to have a subject and verb. Okay, it has to be a complete thought. So all of those things. What's the next biggest unit?
Paragraph.
What's paragraph?
Several sentences that have the same topic.
Okay, several related sentences. 3 to 5 sentences, that's kind of a ballpark. There's no rule saying you have to have at least 3 sentences, or you can't have more than 5 sentences. That's just kind of an average. And you'll see professional writers all the time will have 1-sentence paragraphs because they're pros and they do what they want. We're going to work within the rules and probably have more traditional paragraphs, but there's no set rule, okay, for a paragraph. So I've got 2 little terms here, and some of you might be familiar. They're both terms for organizational elements that you'll see in essays. Does anybody know what a thesis is? 4 points. I'm going to start calling on people if you don't mind a little bit because I haven't heard Ashley. Did I get it? Okay, good. Ashley, you hate your life. You hate being called on. Okay, we're all friends here. If I'm as much of a fool as I am. Which has the bigger idea? I'll start with that. A thesis? Okay, so that's the biggest idea of your paper. That's the main idea of your paper. That's if I said, instead of writing a 1,000-word essay, I want you to tell me in 1 sentence what you want to say in your 1,000-word essay. That would be the sentence, okay? So it's the controlling idea, the biggest idea of the paper. And they're kind of related. Does anybody want to take a stab at topic sentences? Oh, let me give Asia points as... I feel like I've seen your name. Ashley. I had another... Shown, is that how you say it? I had another one, Shown, spelled the same way, that was Asia, was her name. Your daughter? But she was in high school. Wow. Whoa.
No, I'm kidding. But you have to, you know Asia. Obviously, I'm not her actual mother.
Right, she's Asian, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, we got the same. Asian American. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's his kids from his first marriage.
And you're the wicked stepmom? Yeah, I've been there too. We have a blended family. We put the fun in dysfunctional. It's awesome. We've got his, mine, mostly mine and his, but we just put them all together and beat them all, you know. But they're a little bigger now. Okay, so a topic sentence is the controlling idea of a paragraph. Where would you find a topic sentence, you think? At the beginning, that's a real traditional place for it. Sometimes people want to put them at the end, or sometimes they put them in the middle, or it's implied. For now, we're going to start at the top and put your topic sentences at the top of your paragraphs. I want you to think of your topic sentence as a carport. Build this nice carport. You're going to park all your family's cars under there. You're not going to let the neighbor park over there. You're not going to let strangers. You're not going to have two of the exact same car underneath that carport, because that would be dumb. Why would you own two identical cars when you could have a different color or something? That's called paragraph unity. Everything that is parked under that carport should belong there for a reason, because you own it, okay? So that's how I think of it. It's the controlling idea of your paragraph. And since we're starting with paragraphs here, I want to see really strong topic sentences. So I'm going to go through a couple of these and give you an example. So a rule I have for myself. So in the first sentence, and I could use first person because I said you guys could. The rule I have for myself is that my feet don't touch the ground. Okay? That's my topic sentence. So I would spend the rest of the paragraph explaining what I mean. Well, what I mean is I keep shoes next to my bed. I have shoes by all the doors to the outside. When I come in, I put my feet in, change shoes, and put my feet in shoes. When I get out of the shower, I have shoes right there. I do not let my feet touch the ground. Okay? It's a little weird. Yeah, I get it. I'm too much information. My topic sentence announced the topic and gave the main idea. If that's all you had to read, you kind of get a gist, right? That's what I want you to do with your topic sentences. A bad habit, don't if you kill small animals or something, don't tell me that. But or if it's something that I have to report, don't tell me that. Snapshot of agony, probably an injury or maybe even a bad breakup or something. But don't tell the whole story, just that moment when it hit you. I would talk about when I busted on the ice in front of my house and destroyed my knees and laid there for 45 minutes. And then my former students came and scraped me up off the snow. Yeah. And the embarrassing part of that is I'd gone into shock and peed everywhere. It was awesome. It was awesome. But you know what? One of the kids said, that was like the first thing I said to him, pee myself. And he said, "Ma'am, if my knee looked like that, I'd pee myself." My kneecap was like up here, poked out like that. Yeah, it was cool. A snapshot of joy, a moment that was really good for you. Spirit animal. If you Google this to find out what your spirit animal is, I'm going to come after you. I've had people do this. Use your imagination, whatever animal you want to identify with. But I've had people copy and paste, Google spirit animals. I didn't know what my spirit animal is. Make it up. That's what college is making stuff up and pretending you know what you're doing. Just say with authority. A rule. So specific examples and imagery are good for those personal paragraphs. Now that my kids have pretty much left me, I have no inside track on slang, so I'm not even try that one. On this one, you want to keep it pretty narrow. Some of these topics, I think you could actually write a whole paper on. So don't say, if you're doing this one, current style or genre of music, don't say country or hard rock. Those are too broad. Instead, Norwegian death metal. Something, yeah.
That can be pretty entertaining.
What?
It can be pretty entertaining.
Well, sure, but choose something narrow that you could do a detailed and interesting paragraph. So if it's too broad, like country, there's all a million kinds of country or pop or whatever. A term associated with a sport or activity, choose something narrow. So football is too broad. Maybe a position, what a tight end does. or why they're crucial to a team, or something like that, or what the red card means in soccer, or being carded in soccer, something like that, something narrow. We've got some options there. On this one, I want you to choose one quirk, quote, mannerism, one thing about this person that kind of tells me something about them. Don't try to describe everything about them. So with if I were going to do this, I would say, my mother had a habit that terrorizes me to this day when I think about it. When she'd get mad, she'd start blinking her eyes really fast. And I know, oh, it's coming, man. She might be talking calmly, but her eyes are starting to blink. And that meant she was fixing to unload. And she was a cop. She's mean. And I told myself, I'll never do that. I'll never treat my children that. I'll be darned if David was about 6 and making me really mad, and then I noticed it. I'm like, oh my God, I've become my mother. It's genetic. So I would just maybe explain that, or a quote that my dad always says, or something like that characterizes him. Okay. Editorial. Since this is a persuasive paragraph, you have to start with your stance. You can't argue both sides. If you argue both sides on this one, I'm going to knock you down. Okay, you don't have time to argue both sides. First of all, in one paragraph, and second of all, I want just a strong topic sentence. So, this one ought to be a crowd pleaser. Should college instructors be allowed to assign group work? My topic sentence would be, college instructors should be allowed to do whatever they want. But that's too broad for that. So college instructors should be allowed to assign group work for several reasons. And then I would give those reasons in my explanation. But you see how it's clear from the top, in that topic sentence, where I stand. And I want you to be clear where you stand on that topic sentence. Okay? You good with that? Michael, yes, I'm getting this. You might be surprised. What if I just come in and nail all your names? I'll spend all weekend studying them.
We'll give you possum points.
I've got all the possum points I need. I'm the one that makes them, so I have them whenever I want. Okay? So go ahead and get started on this. You know, if you want to get ahead, you've got a lot of other little tasks to do on that week 1. But we will talk about this more next week, and we'll talk about some other conventions of academic writing, and we'll start. So, do we have questions? You good? This is going to be the best class. It always is. Okay.